Did you know the UK government can now strip you of your British citizenship without even telling you first? You heard that right. Under a controversial new law passed in recent years, thousands of people across the UK could be at risk of losing their nationality, and many of them don't even realize it. The most shocking part, in some cases, it can happen without a court hearing, without a warning, and without giving you the chance to defend yourself. You could be born in Britain, carry a British passport, and still fall under the radar of this law. All it takes is being eligible for another nationality, even if you've never claimed it. A simple mistake on a visa application, a past connection to the wrong group, or even sharing the wrong post online could put you in serious trouble. So, who's really safe? And what are the hidden reasons behind these citizenship removals? Today, we're breaking down 10 shocking ways you could lose your British nationality, legally, and some of them are far more common than you'd expect. Stay with us, because number 7 might change how you see your status forever. Number 10. National security threats. In recent years, the UK government has taken a far more aggressive stance when it comes to protecting national security, and that includes the power to strip someone of their British citizenship if they are seen as a threat. Under the Nationality and Borders Act 2022, the Home Secretary can revoke citizenship from anyone believed to be involved in terrorism, espionage, or acts that seriously undermine the UK's national interests. And here's the real kicker. This decision doesn't require conviction in court. If the government believes you're a threat based on intelligence or suspicion, even without formal charges, your citizenship can be taken away. What makes this even more alarming is how broadly the term national security threat can be interpreted. You don't necessarily have to commit an act of violence to be labeled a risk. Involvement in certain organizations, even indirectly, or expressing support for controversial groups, especially online, can be enough to trigger serious scrutiny. And yes, this includes things as simple as attending a meeting, sharing a post on social media, or donating to a cause that later ends up on a watch list. The digital world has blurred the lines, and your online footprint is now under the same microscope as your real-life actions. Many people assume this only applies to extremists or foreign fighters, but that's not always the case. Even individuals with no criminal record have faced investigation under these laws simply because of who they associated with or what they said online. That's why it's more important than ever to be aware of your digital behavior and understand how national security laws have expanded. It's no longer just about what you've done. It's about what others think you might do, and that alone can put your citizenship at risk. Number 9. No notice required. One of the most shocking changes to British nationality law is this: the government no longer has to tell you before taking your citizenship away. Under the revised rules in the Nationality and Borders Act 2022, the Home Secretary has the power to remove your British nationality without giving you any notice at all. This means that, in some cases, you might only discover you're no longer a citizen when you try to renew your passport, leave the country, or access public services. And by then, it could be too late to fight back. The justification for this is vague but powerful. If notifying you is not reasonably practical or contrary to the public interest, the government can go ahead without warning. Think about what that really means. If you're out of the country, if your current address isn't clear, or if the authorities believe that alerting you could compromise an investigation, they are legally allowed to revoke your citizenship quietly. No letter, no phone call, no chance to prepare or respond. You could wake up one day with your entire legal status, your identity, gone. Critics have argued that this level of secrecy and unchecked power opens the door to potential abuses. Without transparency or oversight, how can citizens defend themselves? And what if the government makes a mistake? These aren't just hypotheticals. There have been real cases of people being left stateless or exiled, unable to return to the UK, and cut off from their lives. The message here is clear. British citizenship is no longer a permanent guarantee. It's something that can be taken quietly, in the shadows, and without your knowledge, all in the name of national security or administrative convenience. Number 8. Dual citizenship loophole. Here's something most people don't realize. If you're eligible for another nationality, your British citizenship is far easier to take away. The UK government cannot legally make someone stateless, but if you already hold, or are eligible for another citizenship, they can revoke your British nationality without breaking international law. This means that millions of people in the UK, especially those from immigrant backgrounds, may be unknowingly at risk simply because of their heritage, family ties, or birthplace of their parents or grandparents. What makes this so dangerous is how passive it is. You don't even have to apply for that second nationality. Just the fact that you could be a citizen of another country, through bloodline or descent, can put you in this vulnerable category. Let's say your father was born in Pakistan or Jamaica, or your grandmother was from Nigeria or Bangladesh. That might make you automatically eligible for citizenship in those countries. Under UK law, that's enough justification to strip you of British citizenship, because you wouldn't be stateless. And if the government decides you've broken some rule or are a national security risk, they don't have to worry about where you'll go. They assume you can just go back to that other country, even if you've never lived there in your life. This legal loophole creates a two-tier system of citizenship, one for people who are only British and another for those who are British and something else. It quietly undermines the idea that all citizens are equal. And the worst part? Many people in this second group don't even know they qualify for dual nationality, making them completely unaware of how vulnerable they really are. This isn't about what you've done. It's about who you are and where you come from. Number 7. Past mistakes in applications. One of the most overlooked but dangerous reasons someone can lose their British citizenship is due to errors or false information in their original application, even if it happened years ago, and even if it was unintentional. The UK Home Office has the legal right to revoke citizenship if it was obtained through fraud, false representation, or by hiding key facts during the immigration or naturalization process. And yes, this includes information provided by your parents or guardians, not just you personally. Think about this for a second. Maybe a parent didn't fully understand the paperwork, or made a small mistake under pressure when applying for your status years ago. Maybe they didn't include a previous visa rejection, or misstated a detail about employment. Decades later, when that mistake finally surfaces, the Home Office can legally argue that your British citizenship was never valid to begin with, and strip it away completely. You could be a model citizen, born and raised in the UK, with no criminal record, but still lose your nationality because of one overlooked detail in an old form you never even filled out yourself. This is particularly common among those who migrated during periods of conflict, poverty, or instability, when immigration procedures were less transparent and more complex. In many cases, families were just trying to survive and do the best for their children. But the system doesn't always make allowances for that. The result? Entire families facing uncertainty, and individuals suddenly finding themselves without the only citizenship they've ever known. It's a legal trap that's caught thousands off guard, and it's a reminder that paperwork mistakes from the past can come back with life-changing consequences. Number 6. Foreign crimes matter. Most people believe that only crimes committed in the UK can affect their British citizenship status, but that's far from the truth. Under current laws, a serious criminal conviction in another country can be used as a reason to revoke your British nationality, especially if you're eligible for or hold another passport. And it doesn't have to be terrorism or something extreme. Offenses like drug trafficking, fraud, or violent assault committed overseas can trigger a review of your citizenship status back home. If the crime is considered serious enough under UK standards, it can be used to argue that you're not conducive to the public good. What makes this even more unsettling is how differently laws operate across countries. What might be seen as a minor offense in one place could carry a harsh penalty elsewhere, and vice versa. In some countries, even speaking out against the government or participating in a protest could result in a criminal charge. If that charge leads to a conviction, and you're then considered a political risk or a criminal abroad, the UK government might decide that your presence as a British citizen is no longer acceptable. Once again, this applies mainly to dual nationals, but many are unaware they fall into that category in the first place. This puts travelers, students, and professionals working abroad in a very vulnerable position. A night out gone wrong, getting caught up in a protest, or being in the wrong place at the wrong time can have lifelong consequences, not just with foreign authorities, but back home in the UK too. The message is clear. Your actions overseas can come back to haunt you, and in extreme cases, they can cost you your British passport entirely. Before we dive into the next point, if this video has made you stop and think, drop a comment below and tell us which reason shocked you the most. We spend countless hours researching and creating these videos, so if you find value in them, please hit that subscribe button. It's just one click, but it means everything to us. Number 5. Associations with extremist groups. You don't have to commit a violent act to lose your British citizenship. Sometimes, just associating with the wrong group is enough. Under current laws, the UK government can revoke your citizenship if you are found to be involved with or supporting extremist organizations, even indirectly. This includes financial donations, attending certain events, sharing propaganda, or even liking or reposting content from flagged accounts on social media. And while that might sound extreme, these laws are already being used, often quietly, to target people deemed a security risk through association alone. What makes this particularly dangerous is how vague the definitions can be. Support doesn't always mean active participation. It could be as subtle as online activity, travel to specific regions, or even old connections to groups that have since been banned. In some cases, people have faced investigations simply for attending community gatherings or charity events that were later linked to controversial figures. And when it comes to social media, the lines get even blurrier. What you think is a harmless post or political statement might be interpreted very differently by security services keeping watch. The rise of digital surveillance has made this more complex. Connections can be mapped, and behaviors can be tracked without your knowledge. So even if your intentions were innocent, you could still fall under suspicion. And if you're a dual national, that suspicion could lead to something much more serious: the loss of your citizenship. In a time when digital footprints are permanent and public, it's crucial to understand how online and offline associations could be used against you. Because under this law, guilt by association isn't just a saying, it can be legal grounds for exile. Number 4. Acts against UK interests abroad. Here's a reason that many British citizens overlook. Your actions outside the UK can still have serious consequences inside the UK, including the potential loss of your citizenship. The government has made it clear. If your behavior overseas is considered to be against British interests, you can be flagged as a threat and stripped of your nationality. And this isn't just about terrorism or warfare. It can include things like spreading disinformation, engaging in hostile propaganda, or even participating in foreign political activities that conflict with UK policies or alliances. What's especially concerning is how broad and open to interpretation this can be. Suppose you're involved in maybe you attend protests, speak out against certain regimes, or support political causes online. If those actions are seen to undermine UK diplomatic relations or align you with groups hostile to British interests, they could be used as evidence to revoke your citizenship. This has already happened in high-profile cases, particularly when individuals joined foreign militias or volunteered in conflict zones. But the scope is widening, and it may soon apply to more subtle forms of perceived disloyalty. This essentially means that your freedom of expression abroad isn't entirely safe if you hold dual citizenship. You may feel you're standing up for justice or speaking your truth, but authorities could interpret it as a threat to national stability or global partnerships. And because you're outside the UK, the process of stripping your citizenship can move even faster, especially if you're labeled security risk. The message is chilling but clear. Even if you're thousands of miles from home, the government is still watching, and what you do overseas could cost you the right to return. Number 3. Intelligence you can't see. Perhaps the most alarming reason you could lose your British citizenship is that it could happen based on classified intelligence you'll never get to see. In certain cases, the government can use secret evidence to justify stripping someone of their nationality, and they are not legally required to share that evidence with the person involved. This means that the entire case against you could be built on surveillance, informants, or international intelligence reports that you're not allowed to access, question, or even know exist. You could be labeled a national threat and never be told why. This kind of legal mechanism has been used in national security cases, especially when the information comes from covert sources or international partners. The argument from the government is that revealing such intelligence would compromise ongoing investigations or expose sensitive operations. But from the perspective of the accused, it's a legal nightmare. How do you defend yourself against an accusation when you don't even know what you've been accused of? How do you prove your innocence when you're kept in the dark? This lack of transparency deeply concerns many human rights organizations. It raises questions about due process, accountability, and whether British citizenship is being treated as a right or a privilege that can be quietly taken away. If your status can be revoked based on secret files, you may never even get the chance to argue your case, and you may never find out the full truth. It creates a justice system that runs behind closed doors, where the balance of power is heavily tilted in favor of the state. And for those with dual nationality, it means one confidential report could mean permanent exile, with no trial, no explanation, and no way back. Number 2. War crimes and human rights violations. British citizenship can also be revoked if a person is found to have been involved in war crimes, crimes against humanity, or serious human rights violations, even if those acts were committed long before they became a UK citizen. The UK government has the authority to strip nationality from individuals who have participated in such acts, particularly if they were part of armed groups, regimes, or organizations that engaged in widespread violence or oppression. This rule applies even if there hasn't been a criminal conviction, as long as there's credible evidence suggesting involvement. These cases are often tied to historical conflicts, civil wars, military regimes, or atrocities committed in countries before individuals sought refuge in the UK. Many people came to Britain seeking safety and later built new lives here, but past actions can resurface. Investigations by international bodies, human rights tribunals, or leaked records can trigger a review of someone's citizenship, especially if their name appears in documents or testimonies related to mass violence. It doesn't matter how long ago the incident occurred or how integrated the person has become in British society. If there's evidence of participation in crimes against civilians, they may no longer be considered deserving of citizenship. What makes this particularly challenging is that such decisions can come decades after someone has settled in the UK, often when they've raised families and lived as lawful citizens for years. Even more disturbing, the evidence used might be sourced from countries with questionable legal systems or may rely on accounts that are hard to verify. While it's crucial to hold war criminals accountable, these decisions risk becoming political, and the people affected can find themselves stripped of a life they've built in good faith. Citizenship, once considered permanent, becomes a conditional privilege. Number 1. Inherited citizenship at risk. Most people assume that once you're born in the UK or have a British passport, your citizenship is guaranteed. But in reality, if your citizenship was inherited through your parents, especially if they were naturalised rather than born British, it could still be taken away. Under UK law, if a parent's citizenship is later found to have been obtained through fraud, deception, or mistake, that invalidation can also affect their children, even if the child had nothing to do with the original issue. It's a legal domino effect, and it's catching families completely off guard. Imagine growing up British in every way, going to school, building a life, contributing to society, only to discover that your citizenship is no longer valid because of an error made by your parents decades ago. In some cases, individuals have only found out about their revoked citizenship when applying for university, traveling abroad, or renewing their passport. Suddenly, they are treated as if they've never belonged, all because of a technicality in paperwork from long ago. What's more concerning is that many of these cases involve children who were born in the UK but didn't automatically qualify for citizenship due to complex nationality rules. This legal gray area creates a huge amount of instability for second-generation immigrants. It's not just about individual behavior anymore. It's about the decisions and mistakes of others, passed down like a hidden time bomb. The sense of security many people feel about their status is fragile, and under current laws, that status can be pulled out from under them without warning. Inherited citizenship, which should be a symbol of belonging and continuity, is being treated as conditional, making even British-born individuals feel uncertain about their future in the only home they've ever known. So, What does all this mean? It means that British citizenship is no longer as permanent or protected as most people think. The rules have changed, and the consequences are real. Whether it's due to national security concerns, historical paperwork errors, foreign activity, or simply holding a second nationality, the government now holds more power than ever to decide who gets to stay British and who doesn't. And the most unsettling part, you might never see it coming. This isn't about fear-mongering, it's about being informed. Because knowledge is the only defense when the laws themselves are shifting beneath your feet. Whether you were born here, naturalized, or inherited your status, the risks are growing. The right to citizenship, once seen as untouchable, can now be questioned, reviewed, and even erased, sometimes without warning, and without your side of the story ever being heard. So what do you think? Should any government have this level of control over a person's citizenship? Or have we crossed a line? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We genuinely want to know what side of this debate you're on. And if you found this video eye-opening, support our work by hitting that subscribe button. It's just one click, but it means the world to us. We pour hours of research, writing, and editing into bringing you the truth. So if you want more content that cuts through the noise, subscribe, like the video, and share it. Your support helps keep this channel alive.